All right, so we'll be talking about the respiration system. The respiration system is what we see here in the picture. We see the nose, we see the mouth, we see something that we usually call as the throat. Okay, we're going to learn some official scientific names. We see the lungs, and we see this large red circular looking thing. It is the diaphragm. So today we're going to focus on 712B, which is what we've been talking about, the different body systems. And today, specifically, we're going to identify the functions of the respiratory system.
Many of us have hundreds of things on our minds at any moment, often struggling to keep track of everything we need to do. But fortunately, there's one important thing we don't have to worry about remembering: breathing. When you breathe, you transport oxygen to the body's cells to keep them working, and clear your system of the carbon dioxide that this work generates. Breathing, in other words, keeps the body alive. So, how do we accomplish this crucial and complex task without even thinking about it? The answer lies in our body's respiratory system. Like any machinery, it consists of specialized components and requires a trigger to start functioning. Here, the components are the structures and tissues making up the lungs, as well as the various other respiratory organs connected to them. And to get this machine moving, we need the autonomic nervous system, our brain's unconscious control center for the vital functions. As the body prepares to take in oxygen-rich air, this system sends a signal to the muscles around your lungs, flattening the diaphragm and contracting the intercostal muscles between your ribs to create more space for the lungs to expand. Air then whooshes into your nose and mouth, through your trachea, and into the bronchi that split at the trachea's base, with one entering each lung. Like tree branches, these small tubes divide into thousands of tinier passages, called bronchioles. It's tempting to think of the lungs as huge balloons, but instead of being hollow, they're actually spongy inside, with the bronchioles running throughout the parenchyma tissue. At the end of each bronchiole is a little air sac called an alveolus, wrapped in capillaries full of red blood cells containing special proteins called hemoglobin. The air you've breathed in fills these sacs, causing the lungs to inflate. Here is where the vital exchange occurs. At this point, the capillaries are packed with carbon dioxide, and the air sacs are full of oxygen. But due to the basic process of diffusion, the molecules of each gas want to move to a place where there is a lower concentration of their kind. So as oxygen crosses over to the capillaries, the hemoglobin grabs it up, while the carbon dioxide is unloaded into the lungs. The oxygen-rich hemoglobin is then transported throughout the body via the bloodstream. But what do our lungs do with all that carbon dioxide? Exhale it, of course. The autonomic nervous system kicks in again, causing the diaphragm to ball up and the intercostal muscles to relax, making the chest cavity smaller and forcing the lungs to compress. The carbon dioxide-rich air is expelled, and the cycle begins again. So that's how these spongy organs keep our bodies efficiently supplied with air. Lungs inhale and exhale between 15 and 25 times a minute, which amounts to an incredible 10,000 liters of air each day. That's a lot of work, but don't sweat it. Your lungs and your autonomic nervous system have got it covered.
All right, let's continue. So, during this last week, we've been talking about the human body system, how there's 11 systems that work together to maintain balance. This word is very important that you need to begin to remember. If you haven't, if something's going on, you don't understand this word. Homeostasis, okay? Homeostasis means balance, the constant working of your body to keep you in balance, keep you in wellness, keep you well. Okay, all the cells get to meet their needs, or their needs are being met. All right. So the description that you're going to write down in your booklet is inhaling. The word inhaling means that we're taking in oxygen, right? exhaling, the root EX right here. The other one had IN, which is in, taking in. This one has EX, so it would be the opposite. It would be releasing or out. Out goes the carbon dioxide. We are releasing carbon dioxide, which is a waste product. Okay? Which is a waste product. We don't need it in the body. It's not useful. The third thing is it supplies oxygen to the blood. So your respiratory system is giving the body oxygen. And what part of the body specifically? We're talking about the blood. The blood needs to move all the oxygen to every single cell in your body. It needs to take away the carbon dioxide from every single cell in the body. So it takes it away through the blood system. So guess which system is going to be connected to the respiratory system? All right. Remember at the very bottom of the booklet, we write down the systems that it works with. So guess which one's going to be down there? I think you can kind of already figure out which one it is. Something to do with the blood. All right. At any point, if you need to stop the video, stop it, write down your notes. Let's continue. Here's a picture of a respiratory system diagram. We start with the nose up here, or even the mouth. It goes in to the pharynx, the larynx, and then we have the trachea. Okay? The trachea is sometimes called the windpipe. All right? Sometimes we choke on water, or even sometimes on plain air that we're breathing in. And the trachea is this windpipe that has this larynx right here that opens up and closes right here. The larynx leads to the trachea, again, the windpipe, and then it splits up into bronchi. Okay, the bronchi goes to one side, to one lung, the other lung on the other side. The entire lung has these bronchioles inside of them. They look like branches, okay? The word bronch, okay, should kind of remind you of the word branch. They're kind of branching out. And at the very end, we have these things called air sacs, or the scientific word is alveoli. We have those, and this is where the blood system is connected, where we have these capillaries where the carbon dioxide comes in and the carbon dioxide, um, the oxygen comes in and the carbon dioxide goes out. All right, and then we have something at the bottom of the lungs called the diaphragm, and this is what's pushing the lungs up and down. All right, so these are the structures. The nasal cavity is lined with cilia, tiny little hairs. The air is warmed up, filtered, and moistened here. We cannot get this cold air into our lungs. If not, our lungs could get in some trouble. Maybe they'd collapse. All right, the pharynx was this part right here. Is the back of the throat that begins behind the nose. The trachea is the one that I called right here the windpipe that connects the nose and the mouth to the lungs. And then the bronchial tubes, or the bronchi, are the two branches, the one that goes to one lung on the right, one to the left. So this one right here and this one that right there. The alveoli are the tiny sacs located at the end. I already told you that. And the lung is the entire organ, the large organ that stretches and constricts, the one that expands, and then the one that constricts back together when you breathe. And the diaphragm is actually a muscle that causes the inhaling, the contracting, and the exhaling, the relaxing. The inhaling, the one that's taking in the air, the exhaling, the one that exiting the air. Here's an example. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. All right? So when we're inhaling, the diaphragm goes down, the lungs expand, okay, with the new oxygen. When we're exhaling, the carbon dioxide is exiting, okay, and everything is going back up, and then we have the diaphragm moving up as well, forcing the lungs to get rid of the oxygen. Again, here's the GIF. Inhaling, exhaling. Inhaling, exhaling. All right, we have some problems and diseases. We can get bronchitis, we can get lung cancer, asthma, cystic fibrosis, and the flu. All right. Bronchitis is a viral respiratory infection. Oh, it's right here. All right. So you have a normal um, alveoli, excuse me, bronchioles right here. And then this is a bronchiole that has bronchitis and it's full of mucus. And then it's inflamed. Okay. There's inflammation. It's red. Look at this, the difference. All right. The next one that it had was lung cancer. Of course, we know about cancer. Here's the normal tissue. And then this is where the cancer is building up on the right bronchus. Okay? And cancer, of course, is the growth of these cells that we don't need. All right? The next one is asthma. I think you're pretty familiar with asthma. And it's whenever these um, bronchioles are inflamed or they're extra swollen. I mean, sometimes you get irritation and they're swollen, kind of like in the bronchitis, but this one doesn't necessarily have the mucus attached. Okay, so if these are swollen, you cannot breathe, and if you cannot breathe, you're not getting the oxygen in and the carbon dioxide out. All right. Cystic fibrosis affects the cells that produce mucus. These fluids become thick, sticky, and they block the air passages. So here is cystic fibrosis. So they get in the way of you breathing in and out. This is what a normal airway looks like. Look at the CF for short for cystic fibrosis. Okay, there's sticky mucus that's blocking the airway. All right. And the last one is the flu. Okay, the flu is a viral infection, a respiratory infection that's going in through the nose. It could go in through the mouth, through some droplets. Okay, and it begins to replicate itself. The respiratory tract becomes swollen and inflamed. So once you get the flu in there, it's attacking this. Once inside, the virus enters the bloodstream, the first symptoms show up. And the rest of the body, because it goes into the blood system, the rest of the body, every single cell gets affected by the flu. Here are our system interdependent. So this is the bottom of the page where you're writing down which two systems work together. So we're obviously talking about the respiratory system. This is an alveoli, okay? The end of the bronchioles. Let me show you. These bubble-looking things are called alveoli. I had already explained this. So at the very end, right here, at those balloon-looking things, the air is coming in, the oxygen is being put into the blood cells, and the carbon dioxide is taken out. We don't need the carbon dioxide, so it's removed from the cells. The oxygen replaces it. So it goes from this blue purplish color to a red looking color in the diagram. Okay. The lungs inhale oxygen to the blood, then the carbon dioxide is taken from the blood, exhaled. Here's a more simple version of this. The lungs inhale the oxygen, then the carbon dioxide exhaled. The last thing you're going to write down is the respiratory system works with the muscular system. How does it work? Well, everything in our body, every single cell needs oxygen, especially when exercising. So the muscles need the muscles need to be exercised because sometimes in our life we don't do lots of exercise, but they absolutely need oxygen. So this blood system right here, the blood vessels will transfer the carbon dioxide out, oxygen in, and make it reach to every single skeletal muscle, every single cardiac muscle in the heart, and every single smooth muscle. And actually, this is an example of smooth muscle right here. Okay? Smooth muscle is also in our bladder and the stomach. All right. That's it.